1 year after my dad abandoned us, my mom got engaged and said that her fiancé only wants my brother to stay with them and I will have to figure life out by myself. I'm 15 now, and honestly, this past year has been hell. My dad just disappeared one day. Didn't even say goodbye in person. Just texted me, "Be good," after he moved out. Mom didn't tell me they were getting divorced until the papers were already filed. She said he was overwhelmed with everything, whatever that means. Then 2 months ago, she drops another bomb. She's been dating this guy, Robert, for 3 months and they're engaged. I barely had time to process that she was seeing someone when she announced he'd be my stepdad. I told her 5 months wasn't long enough to really know someone. That pissed Robert off, apparently. When I met him 2 weeks later, he was super playful with my 4-year-old brother, but completely cold to me. I figured it was just because my brother's younger and easier to connect with. Then came the real conversation. Mom sat me down and explained that Robert got this amazing job offer out of state. They were moving and taking my brother, but I'd be staying with Grandma. I said I'd move with them. I didn't want to lose another parent. That's when she admitted the truth. Robert only wanted my brother because he's young enough to build a relationship with. He thought I was too old, too stuck on my parents' marriage, and would never accept him, especially after I questioned their engagement timeline. Mom agreed with him. She wanted me to stay back and figure out my life on my own because she deserved a shot at happiness. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. If anyone should have been on my side, it was her. I told her I wanted to move to Grandma's that day. Within a week, I was packed and gone. Didn't even say goodbye to her, just my little brother. Grandma's been amazing. She didn't judge, didn't force me to talk about it, just let me process everything at my own pace. She's this incredible woman who made her money in real estate back in the 80 seconds when nobody thought women could do that kind of thing. She's always been the strong one in our family, and now I understand why. Then came my 16th birthday 2 weeks later. We were having dinner at her house, just the two of us and my little brother who'd come to visit. Mom and Robert showed up uninvited with a grocery store cake, trying to act like everything was normal. Robert had this fake smile plastered on his face, and Mom kept touching my shoulder like we were still close. "Happy birthday, sweetie," she said, her voice all sugar sweet. "We wanted to celebrate with you." I didn't say anything, just stared at the cake with its generic happy birthday written in blue icing. It was chocolate, and I hate chocolate. She knew that. That's when Grandma handed me an envelope. "This is from me," she said quietly. Inside were keys and a property deed to her downtown penthouse apartment, the one she stays at occasionally when she wants to be close to the city. It's this gorgeous place with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire downtown skyline, hardwood floors, and 2 bedrooms. I'd been there a handful of times for special occasions. "It's yours," Grandma said, watching my face. "Fully paid off, worth about $2.3 million. My mom's fork actually clattered onto her plate. The sound echoed in the suddenly silent dining room. Robert's eyes went huge, his mouth literally hanging open like he'd just witnessed something impossible. I just sat there holding these keys, unable to process what was happening. The metal felt cold and heavy in my palm. Real. This was actually real. Suddenly, Robert got really interested in me. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, his whole demeanor shifting. "Wow, that's quite a responsibility," he said, his voice dripping with false concern. "Have you thought about property management? Do you understand the taxes, the maintenance costs, the insurance?" He was talking fast now, like he was trying to solve a problem. "You're still so young. These kinds of assets require careful oversight. The property management alone could cost thousands a year." Mom jumped right in, nodding along. "That actually makes sense, sweetie. We could help you manage everything. You're too young to handle something this big alone." She reached across the table like she was going to take my hand. "We could all move into the penthouse together as a family. It's bigger than the rental we were looking at anyway." Robert was already pulling out his phone, probably looking up property management companies or calculating numbers. "I have experience with real estate investments," he said. "I could set up an LLC, handle the finances, make sure everything's properly maintained." I looked at Grandma. She had this tiny smile on her face, like she'd been waiting for exactly this reaction. Like this was a test and they were failing spectacularly. "Actually," I said, my voice steadier than I felt, "I'm moving in next week. Grandma's already connected me with a lawyer who's setting up a trust. Nobody can touch it until I'm 25, and even then, it stays in my name only." The smile dropped from Robert's face so fast it would have been funny if I wasn't so angry. His face turned bright red, like someone had flipped a switch. "Are you kidding me right now?" he said, his voice rising. "This is ridiculous. You're being completely disrespectful." He stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Family sticks together. That's what being a family means. But you wouldn't know that, would you? You're too busy being manipulative, turning people against each other." My mom tried grabbing his arm. "Robert, please, calm down." But he turned on her too, his anger spilling over. "This is exactly why I didn't want her coming with us," he snapped, pointing at me. "She's vindictive. She's clearly turned your own mother against you. Can't you see that?" That's when Grandma slowly stood up. The room went dead silent. She's not a big woman, maybe 5'4" on a good day, but somehow she commanded the entire space. "The reason I gave her the apartment," Grandma said quietly, each word precise and cutting, "is because 2 months ago, your mother called asking to borrow $50,000 for your business opportunity. When I said no, she stopped visiting, stopped bringing my grandson. This is the first time I've seen him in 8 weeks. My mom went completely pale, all the color draining from her face. She opened her mouth but no sound came out. My little brother suddenly spoke up, his tiny voice cutting through the tension. "Mommy, why did you tell Robert that Sissy's mean? You said we'd get the big house if she stayed away." Everyone froze. The room felt like all the oxygen had been sucked out. Mom's eyes went huge. Sweetie, that's not. You don't understand. But my brother kept going, confused why everyone looked so upset, his little face scrunched up, trying to figure out what he'd said wrong. You said when Grandma gives Sissy the apartment, Robert would make Grandma give us money too, because she'd feel bad. Robert's jaw dropped. He stared at my mom like he'd never seen her before, like she was a stranger sitting at this table. His hand shot out and grabbed the property deed from the table. He was gripping it so hard his knuckles went white. For a second, I thought he was actually going to rip it up, and my heart jumped into my throat. But then he just stared at it, his eyes scanning the legal text like he was searching for some loophole, some way to make this work in his favor. This can't be legally binding, he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. She's a minor. Minors can't own property outright. There has to be. It's in an irrevocable trust, Grandma said calmly, like she was discussing the weather. Already filed with my attorney. The deed you're holding is just a copy for her records. The originals are locked in a safe deposit box at the bank, and another set is with Thompson and Associates downtown. I watched Robert's face cycle through about 5 different emotions in 3 seconds. Anger, shock, calculation, more anger. His grip on the paper tightened even more, and I swear I heard it crinkle. You planned this, he said, his voice low and dangerous. He was looking at Grandma now, not me. You set this whole thing up to make us look bad. No, Grandma replied, still eerily calm. I set this up to protect my granddaughter from people who would use her. Seems I was right to do so. Robert slammed the paper down on the table. My little brother flinched, and I instinctively reached out to steady him. This is insane, Robert said, his voice getting louder again. You're poisoning this family, turning everyone against each other with your money. Funny, I said, finding my voice, because 5 minutes ago you were super interested in helping me manage that money. His eyes snapped to me, and for a second, I saw something really ugly there. Not just anger, but like actual hatred. It made my skin crawl. Mom finally found her voice. Robert, we should just go, she said weakly. We can talk about this later. Talk about what? He shot back. How your daughter just became a millionaire while we're about to be homeless because that job offer fell through? The room went silent again. Even my little brother stopped fidgeting. What? Mom said, her voice barely a whisper. Robert froze. You could actually see the moment he realized he'd said too much. His mouth opened and closed like a fish. I was going to tell you, he said finally. They called yesterday. Budget cuts. The position got eliminated. Mom just stared at him. I'd never seen her look like that before, like her whole world was crumbling in real time. So, there's no job, she said slowly. We have no place to live. And you didn't think to mention this? I was handling it, Robert said, but his voice had lost all its confidence. I was going to figure something out. With my mother's money, Mom said, and now there was something sharp in her voice. That's what this was about, wasn't it? The engagement, the move, wanting to leave her behind. She gestured at me. It was all about the money. Don't be ridiculous, Robert said, but he wouldn't meet her eyes. Grandma picked up her phone. I think it's time for you both to leave, she said. And Robert, if you contact my granddaughter again, I will have my lawyer file a restraining order. Are we clear? For a second, I thought Robert might actually lunge at her. His whole body was tense, vibrating with barely controlled rage. But then Mom stood up, grabbed her purse, and headed for the door without a word. Robert followed, but not before turning back one more time. This isn't over, he said, pointing at me. Yes, Grandma said firmly. It is. The door slammed behind them. My little brother started crying, not understanding what just happened. I pulled him into a hug, my own hands shaking. You okay, kiddo? Grandma asked softly. I nodded, even though I wasn't sure it was true. Thank you, I managed to say. She just patted my hand. That's what family does, sweetheart. Real family. 3 days passed. I didn't hear anything from Mom or Robert. Actually, that's not true. I heard from Robert, sort of. He called Grandma's landline at 2 a.m. the night after the birthday dinner. Grandma answered, listened for about 10 seconds, and then hung up. She didn't tell me what he said, just that it was nothing worth repeating. I was actually starting to think maybe it was over. Maybe they'd just moved on, gone somewhere else to ruin someone else's life. Then, on the 3rd day, I came home from school to find Grandma sitting at the kitchen table with this look on her face I'd never seen before. Not angry, not sad, something else, something cold. Your mother was here, she said. My stomach dropped. What did she want? Grandma slid something across the table. Robert's laptop. She left this behind when they stormed out. I hadn't noticed it until this morning when I was cleaning up. She came to get it back. I looked at the laptop, then back at Grandma. And she looked terrible, Grandma said quietly. She had bruises all over her arms, one on her face, badly covered with makeup. When I asked her about it, she made up some excuse about falling downstairs. My blood went cold. Robert? I don't know, Grandma admitted. But she was different. Scared, I think. She asked if she could come in, talk to me. I said no. I'm not proud of that, but after what she tried to do, I understood. Part of me wanted to feel bad for Mom, but another part of me, the part that was still angry and hurt, just felt numb. Did she take the laptop? I asked. I gave it to her, Grandma said, but not before I made a copy of the hard drive. Call it insurance. I stared at her. You did what? Sweetheart, when you've lived as long as I have, you learn that desperate people do desperate things. I wanted to know who we were really dealing with. She paused. So I looked through his files. And? Grandma's expression hardened. Robert's not who he says he is. Not even close. She opened her own laptop and pulled up a folder. Inside were dozens of documents, emails, photos. I started reading, and with every line, my stomach twisted tighter. Robert had done this before. Not once, not twice. At least 3 times that Grandma could find evidence of. There were emails to a woman named Jennifer in Ohio, dated 2 years ago. He'd moved in with her and her 10-year-old daughter after her husband died, promised to help manage her late husband's life insurance payout. 6 months later, he'd cleaned out her accounts and disappeared. Then there was Patricia in Colorado, a single mom with twin boys. He'd posed as a contractor, convinced her to let him invest her settlement from a car accident into a business opportunity. That business never existed. He took $75,000 and vanished. And those were just the ones with clear paper trails. There were hints of others, fragments of conversations, deleted emails that Grandma's tech guy had managed to recover. He's a con artist, I said, the words feeling surreal. Like an actual con artist. Yes, Grandma said. And your mother either didn't know or didn't care to look close enough. I felt sick. We have to tell her. I tried, Grandma said. She didn't want to hear it. Said I was trying to sabotage her happiness. She closed the laptop, but I made copies anyway. If something happens, if he tries to come after us or hurt someone else, we have evidence. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Mom, about those bruises, about my little brother still living with them. I grabbed my phone and started going through old texts, trying to find something, anything that would help me understand how we got here. That's when I found the old email Mom had sent me last year, right after Dad left. She'd written about how hard everything was, how scared she was about money, about raising us alone. She'd sounded so lost, and Robert had found her at exactly the right time, or the worst time, depending on how you looked at it. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Heavy breathing on the other end. Then, you think you're so smart, don't you? Robert. I sat up straight in bed, my heart hammering. How did you get this number? Your mom's phone. Real nice, by the way, cutting her off like that. She's having a real hard time right now. He didn't sound drunk exactly, but there was something off about his voice. Manic, maybe. You know what your problem is? You think money makes you better than everyone else. I think you're a liar, I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. I know what you did to Jennifer, and Patricia, and probably a bunch of other people. Silence. Then, quietly, you don't know anything. I know enough, and if you don't leave my family alone, I'm going to the police with everything. He laughed, but it sounded forced. You're a kid. No one's going to believe you. Try me, I said and hung up. My hands were shaking. I immediately called Grandma, told her everything. She called her lawyer friend, who advised us to file a police report first thing in the morning and to save any evidence of harassment. I didn't sleep that night, just kept my phone on, recording app ready, in case Robert called back. He didn't, but I swear I heard a car idling outside around 3 a.m. When I looked out the window, the street was empty. The next morning, Mom called, actually called, not texted. I almost didn't answer. What? I said when I picked up. I need to talk to you, she said. Her voice sounded hoarse, like she'd been crying. In person, please. Why? Because you were right. About Robert. About everything. A pause. Please. I'll come to Grandma's. I just need to talk to you. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to slam the phone down, tell her to figure out her own problems like she'd told me to do. But she was still my mom, and she sounded genuinely broken. Okay, I said finally. But Grandma's going to be there too. I know, she said. I'll be there in an hour. She showed up in 45 minutes, driving a car I didn't recognize. When she got out, I could see the bruises more clearly than Grandma had described. One around her wrist, dark purple and finger-shaped. Another on her collarbone, barely hidden by her shirt collar. And her left eye, swollen and discolored, despite the makeup. Grandma opened the door but didn't invite her in. They just stared at each other for a long moment. I'm sorry, Mom said finally. I know that doesn't mean anything right now, but I need to say it. I'm so sorry. What happened to your face? I asked. Mom touched the bruise gently, wincing. Robert happened. When I told him I knew about the other women, that I wanted him gone, he lost it. Completely lost it. She laughed, but it was this awful, broken sound. You want to know the worst part? He didn't even deny it, just said I was too stupid to appreciate what he was trying to do for us. Where is he now? Grandma asked. Gone, Mom said. Took everything. My debit card, the cash I had hidden, even the emergency credit card I thought he didn't know about. Cleaned out my checking account before I could freeze it. My landlord called this morning. We're being evicted because Robert hasn't paid rent in 2 months, even though I gave him the money for it. Said, my stomach turned. What about my brother? He's with a friend right now. I told her I needed a few hours to figure things out. Mom finally looked at me, really looked at me. I know you have no reason to help me. I know I don't deserve it, but I need you to know that I never meant for any of this to happen. You chose him over me, I said, and my voice cracked despite my best efforts. You literally told me to figure out my own life because you deserve to be happy. I know, she whispered, and I'll regret that for the rest of my life. I thought I was being realistic. I thought it would be better for everyone if I just focused on starting over with someone who could provide stability. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. Grandma hadn't moved from the doorway. What do you want from us? I signed the papers, Mom said. She pulled an envelope from her purse with shaking hands. For custody. You're right. She's better off with you than with me. She held it out to Grandma, who took it slowly, like it might burn her. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything except that you take care of her better than I did. And you? I asked. What are you going to do? I don't know, Mom admitted. I have a friend who might let me crash on her couch for a while. I'll figure something out. I always do. She started to turn away, then stopped. For what it's worth, I am proud of you. You're stronger than I ever was. Smarter too. She got back in the car and drove away. I watched until the taillights disappeared around the corner. Well, Grandma said finally, that was unexpected. Yeah, I managed. We went inside. Grandma made tea, her solution to literally every crisis. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the custody papers, trying to process everything that had just happened. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. My chest tightened, thinking it was Robert again. But when I opened it, the message made my blood run cold. You think you've won? You haven't. I know where you live. I know where you go to school. Pay me $100,000 by Friday, or I start telling everyone what a manipulative little bitch you really are. I've got recordings of you admitting you only wanted the apartment to hurt your mom. I've got texts. I've got everything. Try me. My hands started shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. Grandma noticed immediately. What is it? I showed her the message. Her face went hard. This is extortion, she said flatly. We're calling the police right now. But what if he does have something? I asked. What if? Then he's lying, Grandma said. Because you didn't do anything wrong. He's desperate and he's trying to scare you. Don't let him. We called the police. They came to the house, took statements, copied the text message. The officer, this tired-looking woman named Officer Hayes, explained that it would be hard to track without more information, but they'd do what they could. In the meantime, she said, document everything. Every text, every call, every time you see him anywhere near you. And don't respond. Don't give him anything he can use against you. After she left, I tried to do homework, tried to act normal, but my mind kept spinning. What if Robert actually did have recordings? What if he'd somehow planted bugs or cameras? What if he really could ruin my life? I must have fallen asleep at some point because I woke up to my phone ringing. 2:47 a.m. Another unknown number. Hello? My voice was thick with sleep. Is this the granddaughter of Patricia Martinez? A woman's voice, professional. Who's asking? My name is Elizabeth Chen. I'm calling because I saw your grandmother's post in a Facebook group for victims of romance scams about a man named Robert. I sat up fully. You know him? He married my sister 3 years ago, Elizabeth said. Or, well, he pretended to marry her. Turns out he was already married to someone else. He took her for almost $200,000 before we figured it out. I'm sorry, I said automatically. That's awful. Your grandmother mentioned you have evidence? Emails, documents? Yeah, I said. A lot of them. Would you be willing to share them? I have 2 other women who want to press charges against him, but we need to build a solid case. The more evidence we have, the better chance we have of actually getting him arrested. Absolutely, I said. Whatever you need. We talked for another 20 minutes. Elizabeth explained that Robert, though apparently that wasn't even his real name, had been running scams like this for at least 7 years. He'd moved to a new state, target single mothers with money, drain them dry, and disappear before anyone could catch up to him. The thing is, Elizabeth said, he's gotten smarter about it. He never takes enough to trigger major investigations. Stays under $100,000 usually. Files fake business documents to make it look legitimate if anyone checks. By the time his victims realize what's happened, he's gone. But not this time, I said. Not this time, Elizabeth agreed. Not if we all work together. After we hung up, I couldn't go back to sleep. Instead, I started going through all the evidence Grandma had collected, organizing it by date and victim. There was so much. Fake business proposals, forged investment documents, emails promising returns that never materialized, and photos. So many photos of Robert with different women, different kids, always with that same charming smile. In one, he had his arm around a woman who looked barely 20, both of them standing in front of a house with a sold sign. In another, he was pushing a little boy on a swing set, looking like the perfect stepdad. It made me sick. By morning, I had everything organized in a shared folder and sent the link to Elizabeth. She texted back almost immediately. This is perfect. Thank you. I tried to go to school that day, but I couldn't focus. Kept checking my phone every few minutes, half expecting another threatening text from Robert. Instead, around lunchtime, I got a call from Officer Hayes. We've located Robert, she said. Or rather, someone else located him for us. Turns out he's at his actual wife's house in Nevada. She called the police on him for violating their restraining order. His actual wife? I said. Like, legal wife? Legally married for 12 years, apparently. Never divorced. Which makes every relationship he's had since then technically bigamy. She sounded almost amused. She's pressing charges, and thanks to your evidence, we're able to add fraud and extortion to the list. I felt this surge of relief so strong my knees actually went weak. So he's going to jail? If everything holds up in court, yes. For a long time. I thanked her and hung up, then immediately called Grandma to tell her. She made one of her rare expressions of pure satisfaction. Good, she said simply. That's exactly what he deserves. But the drama wasn't over. 2 days later, Mom showed up at Grandma's house again. This time she had my little brother with her, and she looked even worse than before. Her eyes were red and swollen, her hair unwashed, wearing the same clothes from her last visit. They fired me, she said without preamble when Grandma opened the door. My boss saw Robert's mugshot online. Someone posted it in one of those local crime watch groups and tagged the restaurant. Said I was complicit in his scams because I benefited from them. She laughed bitterly. I didn't even know about the scams, but that doesn't matter, apparently. Where are you staying? I asked. In my car, she said quietly. I've been taking showers at the gym and sleeping in grocery store parking lots, but I can't do that with him. She looked at my brother, who was clinging to her leg, looking confused and scared. I can't put him through this. Grandma and I exchanged a look. I could see her wrestling with it, the same way I was. This was the woman who'd thrown me away, who'd chosen a con artist over her own daughter, who'd tried to manipulate Grandma for money, but she was also my mom. And my brother didn't deserve to suffer for her mistakes. I deserve my shot at happiness. I said quietly, throwing her own words back at her. You told me to figure out my own life, so here's my advice. Do the same. Mom flinched like I'd slapped her. For a second, I felt a flash of guilt. But then I remembered all those nights crying myself to sleep at Grandma's, the birthday she tried to ruin, the way she'd looked at me like I was the problem. However, Grandma said, and her voice was softer than I expected, I'm willing to offer you a deal. Mom looked up, hopeful and desperate. I will pay for therapy, Grandma continued, both individual and family counseling. I will help you find a job and a place to stay, but only if you sign over full custody of your son to me. Mom's face crumpled. I can't. He's all I have left. No, Grandma said firmly. He's not yours to keep when it's convenient and hand off when it's hard. Either you commit to getting real help and giving him stability, or you let him go to someone who can provide it. Those are your options. I watched Mom struggle with it, saw the exact moment she realized she didn't really have a choice. She pulled a pen from her purse with shaking hands. Where do I sign? The next few weeks were weird. Mom moved into a halfway house Grandma found, started therapy twice a week. My brother moved in with us full-time. He cried every night for the first week, asking for Mom, not understanding why she couldn't stay with us too. I tried to be patient with him, even though I was barely holding it together myself. Grandma hired a child psychologist to work with him, help him process everything. Meanwhile, Elizabeth kept me updated on Robert's case. His actual wife, her name was Jessica, agreed to press charges for bigamy and fraud. Combined with the evidence from Mom and the other victims, prosecutors had built a solid case against him. But Robert wasn't going down quietly. He hired a fancy lawyer somehow, probably with money he'd scammed from someone else, and started fighting back. His lawyer sent me a letter threatening to sue for defamation if I didn't recant my statements. Grandma's lawyer sent one back, basically telling them to go fuck themselves in very professional legal language. Then things got worse. Robert started texting me again, different numbers every time, so I couldn't block him effectively. You're going to regret this. I know where your little brother goes to daycare. $50,000 and I'll disappear forever. Otherwise, I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. I saved every message, forwarded them to Officer Hayes. She said they were building a harassment case on top of everything else. But the texts kept coming, and they got more specific. I saw you at the grocery store yesterday. Nice jacket. I hadn't worn a jacket to the grocery store, but he was right that I'd been there. He was watching me, actually watching me. I told Grandma, who immediately hired a private security firm. They did a sweep of the house, found nothing, but they installed cameras anyway, gave us panic buttons to carry. For 2 weeks, I barely left the house except for school. And even then, Grandma insisted on driving me, picking me up right at the door. Then, one Thursday after school, I came out to find Mom's old car in the parking lot. She was standing next to it, looking nervous. What are you doing here? I asked, immediately on guard. I needed to talk to you, she said. And I knew you wouldn't answer if I called. Grandma knows you're here? No, she admitted. But please, just give me 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I got in the car. She drove to a coffee shop a few blocks away, ordered us both hot chocolate even though I hadn't asked for any. The police came to see me yesterday, she said once we sat down. They wanted to know if I knew where Robert might be hiding assets. Apparently he's still got money somewhere they can't trace. And I told them everything I could remember. Bank accounts he mentioned, safety deposit boxes, storage units. She wrapped her hands around her mug. But that's not why I wanted to talk to you. Then why? She pulled out her phone, showed me a text exchange. From Robert, to her. Tell your daughter to drop the charges or I'll make sure she regrets it. When did you get this? I asked, my stomach sinking. Last night. I reported it to the police, but they said there's not much they can do unless he actually does something. She looked at me directly for the first time. I know I don't have the right to say this, but I'm worried about you. Robert's desperate. Desperate people are dangerous. I know, I said quietly. I also wanted to apologize, she continued. For real this time. Not just for Robert, but for everything. For choosing him over you. For trying to use Grandma's money. For being a terrible mother. Her voice cracked. You deserved better. You've always deserved better. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to forgive her, to tell her it was okay. But it wasn't okay. None of it was okay. I'm trying, she said when I didn't respond. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I'm actually trying this time. Therapy's helping. I'm starting to see how messed up my thinking was. Good, I said finally. That's good. We sat in uncomfortable silence for a while. Then my phone rang. Grandma, where are you? She demanded. I came to pick you up and you weren't there. I'm with Mom, I said. At the coffee shop on 5th. A pause. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Don't move. She hung up. Mom and I waited, not talking, until Grandma's car pulled up outside. I got up to leave. Thank you, Mom said, for listening. I just nodded and left. In the car, Grandma didn't yell. She just said, next time, tell me where you're going. Sorry, I said, and I meant it. That weekend, everything came to a head. I was in my room at Grandma's house, trying to finish homework, when I heard shouting outside, then pounding on the front door. I grabbed my phone and the panic button Grandma had given me, crept to the top of the stairs. I know you're in there, Robert's voice slurred and angry. You think you can ruin my life and get away with it? Grandma was already on the phone with 911, her voice calm and steady as she gave them our address. Open the fucking door. More pounding, then the sound of breaking glass. He'd thrown something through the front window. I pressed the panic button. The security company's alarm went off immediately, loud and piercing. Lights started flashing outside. Robert must have panicked because I heard him running, then a car door slamming. tires squealing. The police arrived 3 minutes later. They found Robert 2 blocks away, pulled him over for running a red light. When they searched his car, they found a crowbar, zip ties, and duct tape. Officer Hayes came to the house the next morning to update us. He's being held without bail, she said. Breaking and entering, violation of restraining order, possession of burglary tools. Combined with everything else, his lawyer's saying he might take a plea deal. How long? Grandma asked. 15 to 20 years if he pleads guilty. Longer if he goes to trial and they can prove intent to harm. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in weeks. But there was still one more thing I had to deal with. The day after Robert's arrest, Mom called. I saw the news, she said. Are you okay? Yeah, I said. We're fine. I'm glad. A pause. Listen, I know this is terrible timing, but I need to ask you something. My stomach clenched. What? I'm 2 months behind on my storage unit payment. They're going to auction off everything inside next week if I don't pay, and I just can't afford it right now. I was wondering if maybe… No, I said flatly. I wasn't asking for money, she said quickly. I was asking if maybe you could help me sort through it, figure out what's worth keeping and what I can sell to pay the bill myself. I almost said no again, but then I thought about my little brother, about his toys and photos that were probably in that unit. Fine, I said, but Grandma's coming too. The storage unit was exactly as depressing as I expected. Boxes of old clothes, broken furniture, random junk. Mom couldn't fit in her various apartments over the years. We spent 3 hours going through everything. Near the back, I found a box labeled Important Documents. Inside were birth certificates, old tax returns, and a life insurance policy I didn't know existed. What's this? I asked, holding it up. Mom looked at it and her face went pale. That's from when your dad and I were still married. I forgot about it. The policy was for $250,000, with me and my brother listed as beneficiaries. Not Mom. Us. Does Dad know about this? I asked. I don't know, Mom said. We never talked about it after he left. I took photos of every page, sent them to Grandma's lawyer. She called back an hour later. This is still active, she said. If something were to happen to your father, you and your brother would split the payout. Not that I wanted anything to happen to Dad, but knowing that money existed, that Mom couldn't touch it, felt like one small piece of security. We finished sorting the storage unit, sold enough stuff to cover the back payments, and locked it back up. Mom thanked me, gave me an awkward hug that I barely returned. I mean it, she said. Thank you for everything. I didn't do it for you, I said honestly. I did it for my brother. She flinched but nodded. I know. 3 months passed. Robert took the plea deal 18 years, eligible for parole in 12. All of his victims, including Mom, were awarded restitution, though the lawyer said it would take years to actually collect any money since Robert had hidden most of it. Elizabeth Chen and the other women started a support group for romance scam victims. Mom joined, started helping other women navigate the legal system and therapy process. My little brother started talking again, laughing again. His nightmares got less frequent. The child psychologist said he was making remarkable progress. Grandma officially adopted him. The paperwork went through without any issues since Mom had voluntarily signed over custody. Life started to feel almost normal. I moved into the penthouse apartment, with Grandma helping me set it up, got my driver's license, started thinking about colleges. And then, my 17th birthday arrived. I didn't want a big celebration, just dinner with Grandma and my brother, maybe a movie after. Simple. But when I came downstairs that morning, Mom's car was in the driveway again. What is she doing here? I asked Grandma. She called last night, Grandma said carefully. Asked if she could come to dinner. I told her, it was your decision. I wanted to say no, but my brother was so excited, bouncing around saying, Mommy's coming! Mommy's coming! And I couldn't bring myself to ruin his day. Fine, I said. But if she starts any drama, she leaves. Agreed, Grandma said. Dinner was awkward. Mom brought a cake homemade this time. My actual favorite flavor. She'd lost weight, looked healthier than she had in months. Her eyes were clearer. You look good, I said, surprising myself. Thanks, she said with a small smile. I'm 6 weeks sober. The therapist thinks I was self-medicating for depression. That's good, I said and meant it. We ate dinner, mostly in silence except for my brother's constant chatter. He showed Mom his drawings, his new favorite book, the toy Grandma had bought him. Then came the cake, the singing, the presents. Grandma got me a new laptop for college. My brother made me a card with stick figures that were supposedly us. Mom pulled out a small envelope, held it out with shaking hands. I know I don't have the right to ask for forgiveness, she said quietly. And I know a gift doesn't make up for what I did, but I wanted you to have this. Inside was a check for $500. The memo line said, "First month I got paid at my new job. I can't accept this," I said, trying to hand it back. Please, she said. It's not about the money. It's about showing you that I'm trying to do better, to be better. I looked at the check, at her desperate expression, at my brother watching us with wide eyes. Okay, I said finally, pocketing the check. Mom's shoulders sagged with relief. We finished the cake, and she started gathering her things to leave. Can I come to your next birthday? My brother asked her suddenly. Mom looked at me, then at Grandma. That's not up to me, sweetheart. We'll see, Mom nodded, kissed my brother's forehead, and headed for the door. Then she turned back one more time. I'm proud of you, she said to me. You're everything I wish I'd been at your age. Strong, smart, brave. Her voice cracked. Your dad and I, we both screwed up, but somehow you turned out amazing anyway. Before I could respond, she was gone. My brother went to bed, and Grandma started cleaning up. I sat at the table, staring at that check, feeling emotions I couldn't quite name. You okay? Grandma asked. I don't know, I admitted. Is it weird that I almost want to forgive her? No, Grandma said gently. It's not weird. It's human. I went to bed that night thinking maybe, possibly, things were finally starting to heal. I was wrong. 2 days after my birthday, Mom showed up at Grandma's house unannounced. No call, no text. Just pounded on the door at 7 a.m. Grandma answered, still in her robe. I came downstairs to find them arguing in the doorway. You can't just show up like this, Grandma was saying. I need to talk to her, Mom said, and she sounded frantic. Please, it's important. What's wrong? I asked, coming to the door. Mom looked at me with wild eyes. They're trying to take him away. CPS. They're saying I'm an unfit mother, and they want to remove him from my care. My stomach dropped. What? Why? Someone reported me, Mom said, her voice rising. Said I was neglecting him, living in unsafe conditions, involved with criminals. They did a home visit yesterday and saw that I don't have custody anymore, but they're still investigating, saying they want to make sure he's safe with you. He is safe with us, Grandma said firmly. We have legal custody. They can investigate all they want, but they're making it sound like I'm a monster, Mom said, tears streaming down her face, like I'm some kind of criminal. And I know it's my fault. I know I made mistakes, but I'm trying so hard to fix them. Who reported you? I asked. I don't know. They wouldn't tell me, but whoever it was gave them details. About Robert, about the eviction, about everything. She looked at me accusingly. Was it you? What? No. Then who? Mom demanded. Who else knows everything? Who else would want to hurt me like this? I thought about it. Then it hit me. The women from the support group. Maybe one of them thought they were helping? Why would they do that? Mom asked. But she sounded less certain now. Because they saw you struggling, I said. Maybe they thought CPS could get you real help. Mom sank onto the front step, head in her hands. This is a nightmare. This is literally my worst nightmare. Grandma and I exchanged a look. Then Grandma sighed and sat down next to Mom. When CPS comes to investigate us, she said, we'll tell them the truth. That you voluntarily gave up custody because you knew it was best for him. That you're in therapy, getting help, that you're trying. And what if that's not enough? Mom whispered. Then we'll deal with it, Grandma said. But running away or hiding isn't going to help. The CPS worker came 3 days later, a tired-looking woman named Janet, who spent 2 hours interviewing Grandma, inspecting the house, talking to my brother. She asked me questions too, about Mom, about Robert, about how I felt taking care of my brother. I told her the truth, that Mom had made mistakes but was trying to fix them, that my brother was happy and safe here, that Grandma was an amazing guardian. And your mother? Janet asked. How often does she see him? Once a week, I said. Supervised visits. She brings him presents, plays with him. He loves seeing her. Janet wrote everything down, her expression unreadable. 2 weeks later, we got the official letter. CPS was closing the case. No removal necessary. They would check in periodically, but for now, my brother could stay with Grandma. Mom called when she got her copy of the letter. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Thank you, she kept saying. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just told them the truth, I said. I know, she said. And you could have told them anything. You could have made me sound worse. Yeah, well, I said. You're still my mom, even if you're not very good at it sometimes. She laughed through her tears. That's fair. A month later, Mom got her own apartment. Nothing fancy, but it was hers. She invited us over for dinner to celebrate. The place was tiny, maybe 500 square feet, but she'd made it nice. Plants on the windowsill, my brother's drawings on the fridge, actual furniture instead of storage unit rejects. This is great, I said, and meant it. Thanks, she said, looking proud. I'm actually making it on my own for the first time in my life. No man, no handouts, just me and my job and my therapy bills. We ate spaghetti and meatballs, played board games with my brother, watched a movie. It felt almost normal, almost like a real family. When we were leaving, Mom pulled me aside. I know I can't undo what I did, she said quietly. And I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I want you to know that getting help, getting sober, it's not just for me, it's for you too. And for him. Because you both deserve a mother who's actually worth having. We'll see, I said. Keep doing what you're doing. That's all I can ask. She nodded, blinking back tears. I will, I promise. For the next few months, she kept that promise. Showed up to every therapy appointment, every supervised visit, got promoted at her new job, started taking online classes to finish her degree. My brother's unsupervised visit started, and he'd spend whole weekends with her sometimes. He'd come back happy, talking about the park they went to or the movie they watched. I started to think maybe, just maybe, she was actually going to make it this time. And then my phone rang at 2 a.m. on a random Tuesday. Hello, I answered groggily. Is this the sister of? A woman's voice, professional and cold. Who is this? I asked, suddenly wide awake. This is County Hospital. Your mother was brought in about an hour ago. She listed you as her emergency contact. My heart stopped. What happened? Is she okay? She's stable, but she's asking for you. Can you come down? I threw on clothes, woke up Grandma, and we drove to the hospital in silence. My mind was racing with worst-case scenarios. When we got to her room, Mom was sitting up in bed, her arm in a sling, bandages on her face. I'm sorry, she said immediately when she saw me. I didn't know who else to call. What happened? Grandma demanded. Robert, Mom said quietly. He got out on bail. I don't know how, but he did. He showed up at my apartment tonight. The room seemed to tilt. I thought he was in jail. They said, some technicality with the plea deal, Mom said. His lawyer filed an appeal. They let him out until the hearing. She touched the bandage on her face gingerly. He wanted money. said I owed him for ruining his life. When I said I didn't have any, he got violent. Did you call the police? I asked. My neighbor did when she heard me screaming. They arrested him at the scene this time. His bail's been revoked. She looked at me with desperate eyes. I know this looks bad. I know you're probably thinking I'm back to my old ways. But I swear I didn't contact him. I didn't know he was out. I was just as surprised as you. We believe you, Grandma said, surprisingly gentle. Really? Mom looked shocked. Really? I confirmed. You've been doing so well. This isn't your fault. Mom started crying. Deep, gasping sobs. I was so scared. I thought he was going to kill me. And all I could think about was that I'd finally gotten my life together and it was going to be taken away. I sat on the edge of her hospital bed, awkwardly patted her good arm. You're okay now. He's going back to jail. For a long time. I can't go back to that apartment, she said. Not alone. What if he comes back? What if... You'll stay with us, Grandma said firmly. Until you feel safe enough to be on your own again. I can't ask you to do that, Mom protested weakly. You're not asking. I'm offering. Grandma stood up. I'll go talk to the doctors about discharge paperwork. When she left, Mom and I sat in silence for a moment. I really am trying, Mom said finally. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. I know, I said, and I see it. We all do. Even after everything? Even after everything. She stayed with us for 3 weeks while she healed. It was weird having her back in Grandma's house, sleeping in the guest room, eating meals with us every day. But it was also kind of nice. She helped my brother with his homework, taught him to make her famous chocolate chip cookies, played board games with us on rainy afternoons. One night, I found her in the kitchen at midnight, staring at her laptop. Can't sleep? I asked. She jumped, then laughed. Caught me. I was looking at apartment listings, trying to find a new place. Any luck? Maybe. There's this one bedroom about 20 minutes from here. It's in my budget, has good security. I'm going to look at it tomorrow. Want company? I surprised myself by offering. She looked up, hope in her eyes. Really? Yeah, why not? The apartment was perfect. Small, but with good locks. A security guard at the front desk. Cameras in every hallway. Mom put down a deposit that day. Thank you for coming with me, she said as we drove back. I know you didn't have to. I wanted to, I said, and I realized I meant it. She moved into the new place 2 weeks later. We helped her unpack, set up furniture, hang curtains. My brother claimed the pull-out couch as his bed for when he stayed over. Life settled into a new rhythm. School, work, therapy, family dinners. It wasn't perfect, but it was stable. And then Robert's trial date was set. The prosecutor called me personally to ask if I'd be willing to testify. I said yes without hesitation. Mom testified too. So did Grandma, Elizabeth Chen, the other victims. We all told our stories, laid out the evidence, watched Robert's lawyer try and fail to poke holes in our testimonies. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Sentencing was set for 2 months later. In the meantime, Robert was sent back to jail without bail. I thought that would be the end of it, that we could finally move on. I was wrong again. 1 week before Robert's sentencing, I got a message on Instagram from an account I didn't recognize. No profile picture, generic username. You think you've won, but you haven't. I know what you did. I know everything. I screenshot it, sent it to Officer Hayes. She said it was probably just Robert using someone else's account to harass me, but there was nothing they could do about an Instagram message. Then I got another one. Check your email. My hands were shaking as I opened my inbox. There was a message from an unknown sender, no subject line. Inside was a video file. I almost didn't click it, but curiosity got the better of me. The video showed me at the coffee shop with Mom, but the audio had been edited, cut, and spliced to make it sound like I was admitting to fabricating evidence against Robert. I made it all up, my voice said on the recording, just to get the apartment. Except I'd never said that, never even come close to saying it. This is deep fake shit, I said out loud, showing it to Grandma. Forward it to the lawyer, she said immediately, and to Officer Hayes. This is witness intimidation. I did, and within hours, Robert's lawyer was served with a notice that the video had been reported as falsified evidence. An investigation was opened into who created it. Turns out, it was Robert's cousin, some tech guy who thought he was helping. He was arrested for witness tampering and creating false evidence. Robert's sentencing went ahead as planned. 23 years with no possibility of parole for 15. As they led him out of the courtroom in handcuffs, he looked directly at me. This isn't over, he mouthed. But it was. It really was. After that, life genuinely started to get better. Mom kept up with therapy, stayed sober, maintained her job. My brother thrived in school, made friends, stopped having nightmares. I got accepted to 3 colleges, ended up choosing one about an hour away so I could still come home on weekends. And Mom kept showing up, to school events, to birthday parties, to Sunday dinners, not as the mom who'd abandoned me, but as someone who was genuinely trying to be better. One night, about 6 months after the trial, she asked if we could talk, just the 2 of us. We sat in her little apartment, drinking tea she'd bought because she remembered it was my favorite. I've been thinking a lot about that day, she said. The one where I told you to figure out your own life. Do you remember what I said? That you deserved your shot at happiness, I said quietly. Yeah, she said. And I was so wrong. Because my happiness, my real happiness, it was always supposed to include you. I just got so lost trying to find some fantasy of a perfect life that I forgot I already had everything I needed. You really hurt me, I said, and my voice cracked. You made me feel like I wasn't enough, like I wasn't worth keeping. I know, she whispered, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for that. Even if you never forgive me, I'll keep trying. I didn't say anything for a while, just sat there, feeling all the anger and hurt and confusion I'd been carrying for almost 2 years. I don't forgive you, I said finally. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I'm willing to try to move forward. That's more than I deserve, Mom said, tears streaming down her face. Yeah, I agreed. It is. But we did move forward. Slowly, carefully, with lots of therapy and boundaries and honest conversations. It wasn't perfect. There were setbacks, arguments, days when I wanted to cut her off completely. But we kept trying. The penthouse apartment became my home base through college. I'd study there on breaks, have friends over, use it as my sanctuary when life got too overwhelming. Grandma stayed involved, of course. Sundays were sacred, family dinners that none of us dared to miss. She'd make her famous pot roast, we'd argue about politics and movies and stupid stuff that didn't matter, and for a few hours, we'd just be a family. A weird, complicated, slightly broken family. But a family nonetheless. My 18th birthday came, then 19, 20. I graduated college with honors, got a job at a marketing firm, started building my own life. Mom graduated from her program, got certified as a substance abuse counselor, started helping other women escape bad situations. My brother grew up, started middle school, developed a personality beyond just the traumatized kid. And through it all, we kept in touch. Weekly phone calls, monthly visits, occasional crisis moments when someone needed help. It wasn't the life I'd imagined when I was 15, crying in my new bedroom at Grandma's house, but it was mine, and somehow, that was enough. Then came my 17th birthday. Wait, no, I already passed that. I'm jumping around. Let me go back. Right, so after Robert was sentenced, after all the dust settled, I thought we were done with drama. I really did. But you know how life is. It never quite works out that way. It was about 3 months after the trial when Mom called me, her voice shaking. You need to come to my apartment, she said. Now, please. I drove over, expecting another crisis. Maybe she'd relapsed, or lost her job, or Robert had somehow sent another threatening message from prison. But when I got there, she was sitting on her couch with my little brother, both of them looking shell-shocked. What happened? I asked. Your dad called, she said quietly. He wants to see you, both of you. The room spun. Dad, the man who'd texted be good and disappeared, who hadn't called, hadn't written, hadn't shown up to a single birthday or holiday. Why? Was all I could manage. He said he's been in rehab, Mom said, for almost a year. He's sober now, going to meetings, has a sponsor. He wants to make amends. And you believe him? Mom shrugged helplessly. I don't know what to believe anymore, but he sounded different, sincere. My brother was watching me with wide eyes. Do you want to see Daddy? He asked. That was the question, wasn't it? Did I want to see the man who'd abandoned us? Who'd left Mom to spiral into a relationship with a con artist? Who'd missed 2 years of our lives without a single word? I need to think about it, I said. I talked to Grandma, to my therapist, to my friends. Everyone had opinions, but ultimately, it was my choice. And after a week of agonizing over it, I decided to meet him. Not for him, for me. Because I needed to know if there was anything left worth salvaging. We met at a coffee shop, neutral territory. He looked older than I remembered. Grayer, thinner. He had this nervous energy. Kept wringing his hands. Hi, he said when I walked in. Hi, I said back. We sat in awkward silence for a minute. Then he started talking. About rehab, about his sponsor, about the 12 steps, and making amends and all the things he'd realized about himself. I know I hurt you, he said finally. I know leaving was the worst thing I could have done, and I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know that I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Okay, I said. Okay? Yeah, okay. I hear your apology. I appreciate it, but I'm not ready to have you back in my life yet. Maybe someday, but not now. He looked disappointed, but he nodded. I understand. That's fair. We talked for another hour, mostly small talk. He asked about school, about my brother, about Grandma. I gave short answers, kept my guard up. When we parted ways, he asked if he could call me sometimes. I said maybe. No promises, and that was that. No dramatic reconciliation, no tearful reunion, just two people who used to be family, trying to figure out if they still wanted to be. Life continued. I started dating someone, a guy from my marketing class who made me laugh and didn't ask too many questions about my messy family history. Mom met someone too, a woman from her support group who'd been through similar experiences. They took it slow, but I could see Mom was happy in a way she hadn't been before. Grandma started talking about retirement, maybe traveling more. She'd earned it, that was for sure. And me? I was just trying to figure out who I was beyond all the trauma and drama, who I wanted to be. It was during this relatively peaceful period that everything came crashing down one more time. I came home from class one day to find police cars outside Grandma's house. My heart dropped. I ran inside to find Grandma sitting on the couch, looking furious. Officer Hayes was there, along with another detective I didn't recognize. What's going on? I demanded. Your mother tried to report me for elder abuse, Grandma said, her voice icy. To get control of my assets, apparently. My stomach dropped. What? No, she wouldn't. She's been doing so well. Apparently not well enough, the detective said. The report was filed 3 days ago. Claimed that you and your grandmother were financially exploiting her, preventing her from seeing her son, coercing her into signing custody papers. I felt like I'd been slapped. That's not true. None of that's true. We know, Officer Hayes said gently. The report's been dismissed. Your mother's therapist provided records showing she has visitation rights. Her bank statements show no unusual activity, and the custody papers were signed voluntarily with legal counsel present. So why are you here? I asked. Because filing a false report is a crime, the detective said. We need to take a statement from both of you, and we'll be pressing charges. Grandma looked at me. I already told them to do it. I know she's your mother, but this crosses a line. I nodded numbly. Because she was right. This did cross a line. A major one. The police left an hour later with our statements. I immediately called Mom, but it went straight to voicemail. I tried 5 more times. Nothing. Finally, I drove to her apartment. The lights were off. Her car wasn't in the parking lot. I knocked anyway, but no one answered. For 2 days, she was completely MIA. Didn't answer calls or texts. Didn't show up to work. Didn't come to her scheduled visit with my brother. Then, on the 3rd day, she called. I'm sorry, she said, and she was crying. I'm so sorry. I didn't file that report. I would never. You have to believe me. Then who did? I demanded. Robert's cousin, she said. The same one who made the deepfake video. He somehow got access to my personal information and filed it using my name. I only found out when the police came to question me. And you didn't think to call me? To explain? I was ashamed, she sobbed. Because part of me knows you'll never fully trust me again. That every time something goes wrong, you'll think it's my fault. And I wouldn't blame you. I wanted to yell at her, to tell her that running away and hiding only made it worse. But I was so tired. Tired of the drama, tired of the constant crisis mode, tired of not knowing if my family was going to implode again. Come to Grandma's house, I said finally. Let's sort this out together. She showed up an hour later with police reports, bank statements, phone records, everything she could find to prove her innocence. Grandma looked over all of it, her expression softening slightly. The police already arrested Robert's cousin, she said. He confessed to filing the false report, said he was trying to get back at us for putting Robert in prison. Mom's shoulders sagged with relief. So you believe me? I believe the evidence, Grandma said. But this pattern needs to stop. Every time we start to build trust, something explodes it again. I know, Mom whispered. And I'm trying. I really am. But it feels like I can't escape my past mistakes. They just keep following me. Then maybe it's time to really move on, I said. New city, new job, new start. Somewhere Robert's family can't find you. Mom looked at me with surprise. You want me to leave? I want you to be safe, I corrected. And to be happy. And neither of those things seem possible here. She thought about it for a long moment, then nodded slowly. You might be right. A month later, Mom moved to a city 3 states away, got a job at a women's shelter, found a small apartment, started fresh. My brother and I visited her every few months, and she came back for holidays. It wasn't perfect, but it was better, safer, and slowly, painfully, we started to heal. Which brings me to my actual 17th birthday, the one I haven't told you about yet. Grandma and I decided to keep it small, just family dinner, nothing fancy. I'd invited Mom, despite everything. She'd driven 6 hours to be there. We were halfway through the meal when there was a knock at the door. Grandma sighed. If that's another crisis, I'm moving to a remote island. But it wasn't a crisis. It was my dad, standing on the porch with a badly wrapped present and an uncertain expression. I know I wasn't invited, he said when Grandma opened the door, but I wanted to see her, just for a minute. To give her this, Grandma looked back at me. It was my call. Let him in, I said, surprising myself. Dad came in, looked around the room at all of us. Mom, Grandma, my brother, me, his fractured family, somehow still together. Happy birthday, he said, handing me the present. I know it's not much, but I thought you might like it. Inside was a photo album. Pictures of me as a kid, some I'd never seen before. Me learning to ride a bike, me on my first day of school, me blowing out candles on a cake shaped like a dinosaur. I kept them, Dad said quietly. All these years. I know I wasn't there, but I never stopped thinking about you. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to throw the album at him, to scream about all the birthdays he'd missed. But another part, a smaller part, was touched that he'd kept these memories. Thank you, I managed. I'm in therapy now, he said, working through everything. I don't expect you to want me back in your life, but if you ever change your mind, I'd like to try. Maybe, I said. Someday, but not today. He nodded, understanding. That's fair. That's more than fair. He left a few minutes later. We finished dinner in silence, everyone processing what had just happened. Then Mom cleared her throat. I have something too, she said, pulling out an envelope. I wasn't sure if I should give it to you, but after seeing your dad, I think maybe I should. Inside the envelope were printed screenshots of text messages, emails, all from the past year. Messages where she'd called me selfish, where she'd complained about me to Robert before he went to prison, where she'd plotted with him about how to get access to Grandma's money. Evidence of every cruel, manipulative thought she'd had about me, preserved in black and white. Why are you giving me this? I asked, my voice hollow. Because you deserve to know the truth, Mom said, tears streaming down her face. About who I was, what I was capable of. I want you to have proof that I'm not that person anymore, that I've changed. I looked at the papers, at all the horrible things she'd said, things I'd suspected but never had confirmed. You told me to never contact you again, I said, remembering her own words at a previous birthday. I did, she admitted. I looked at her, at the desperation in her eyes, at my little brother, who was watching us both with concern, at Grandma, who was staying carefully neutral, and I made a choice. I took the envelope, walked over to the fireplace, and threw it in. Watched all those cruel words burn to ash. I don't need these, I said. I already know what you did. What matters is what you're doing now. Mom broke down completely, sobbing into her hands. But, I continued, if you ever hurt me like that again, we're done. Permanently. Understand? She nodded frantically. I understand. I promise. I swear on everything I love. Good, I said. Now, can we please just have a normal birthday for once? Everyone laughed, breaking the tension. We cut the cake, told stupid jokes, played board games until midnight. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't the family I dreamed of having, but it was mine, messy and complicated and real. And for the first time in years, that felt like enough. The next morning, Mom packed up to head back to her new city. Before she left, she pulled me aside one more time. Thank you, she said simply. For what? For giving me another chance. For not giving up on me, even when I gave you every reason to. Don't make me regret it, I said. I won't, she promised. I can't promise I'll be perfect. I can't promise there won't be setbacks. But I can promise I'll keep trying. That's all I can ask, I said. She hugged me tight, then got in her car and drove away. I watched until she disappeared around the corner, then went back inside where Grandma was making breakfast. You did a good thing last night, she said, flipping pancakes. Did I asked. Or did I just set myself up for more hurt? Both, probably, Grandma said honestly. But that's what family is. Taking risks on people who've let you down, hoping they'll do better this time. That sounds exhausting, I said. She laughed. It is, but it's also kind of beautiful, in a messy way. I sat down at the kitchen table, watching her cook. My brother came downstairs, already talking about his day ahead. Life went on, simple and ordinary, and complicated all at once. And I realized that this, right here, was what I'd been fighting for all along. Not perfection, not some fairy tale ending. Just the chance to build something real with the people who mattered, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. But the universe wasn't quite done testing us yet. 2 months after my 17th birthday, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. Is this the daughter of Michael Anderson? A woman's voice. Professional. Who's asking? This is County General Hospital. Your father was in a car accident. He's in stable condition, but he's asking for you. Everything else faded. Dad, in the hospital, asking for me. I drove there in a daze, called Mom and Grandma on the way. They both said they'd come, but I got there first. Dad was in a hospital bed, looking bruised and battered but alive. He smiled weakly when I walked in. Hey kiddo, he said. Don't, hey kiddo me, I said, but there was no heat in it. What happened? Drunk driver ran a red light, he explained. T-boned me on the passenger side. If I'd been going any slower, I would have been killed. I sat down in the chair next to his bed, processing this. I was on my way to a meeting, he continued. My sponsor and I were supposed to grab coffee after. I was actually doing okay, you know? Staying sober, working my program, trying to be better. I'm glad you're okay, I said quietly. Are you? He asked. I wouldn't blame you if you weren't. Of course I am, I said, surprised to realize I meant it. You're still my dad, even if you're not very good at it. He laughed, then winced. Fair assessment. We sat in silence for a while. Then he said, I've been thinking a lot about that photo album I gave you, about all those memories. It was a nice gift, I said. I want to make more, he said. Memories, I mean. If you'll let me. I know I don't deserve it, but I want to try to be part of your life again. I thought about it, about all the pain he'd caused, all the years he'd missed, about Mom and her journey, about Grandma's wisdom, about everything I'd learned about forgiveness and second chances. Okay, I said finally. We can try, but slowly. No promises. No promises, he agreed. Just trying. Mom and Grandma arrived together, which was surreal. They stood on opposite sides of Dad's hospital bed, this weird tableau of my broken family. You look terrible, Mom said to Dad. Thanks, he replied. You look good. Different. I am different, she said simply. And in that moment, I saw it. The three of them, all changed in their own ways. Still flawed, still complicated, still capable of hurting each other, but also trying, genuinely trying, to be better. Dad was released 2 days later. He moved into a halfway house, kept going to meetings, started therapy. We had coffee once a week, stilted conversations that slowly became easier. He met my brother again, who barely remembered him. That was hard for Dad, I could tell, but he didn't push, didn't force it. Just showed up and kept showing up until my brother started to warm to him. Mom and Dad even had a civil conversation once, about co-parenting and support and making sure we had what we needed. It was weird and awkward, but it was progress. And through it all, Grandma was the steady presence, the rock we all leaned on. She never judged, never said I told you so, just kept making Sunday dinners and offering wisdom when asked. You know what I've learned? She said one Sunday as we all sat around her table. Me, my brother, Mom, Dad, Grandma. What? I asked. Family isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Everyone nodded, understanding in their own way. My 17th birthday had passed. My 18th was coming. And for the first time in years, I actually looked forward to it. Not because I expected it to be perfect, but because I knew now that perfect wasn't the point. The point was this: sitting around a table with people who'd hurt me and whom I'd hurt back, choosing to try anyway. That was family. Messy, complicated, imperfect family. And somehow, that was exactly what I needed. But before we get to my 18th birthday, there was one more thing that needed to happen. It was a random Tuesday afternoon when I got the certified letter from Robert's lawyer. My hands shook as I opened it. Some nonsense about appealing his conviction, claiming new evidence, requesting that all witnesses be re-interviewed. I showed it to Grandma, who immediately called our lawyer. It's a standard tactic, the lawyer explained. Trying to intimidate witnesses into changing their testimony happens all the time in fraud cases. So we don't have to do anything? I asked. Just keep the letter as evidence if he tries to claim you're not cooperating. But no, you don't have to retestify unless a judge orders it, which is highly unlikely given the amount of evidence. I breathed a sigh of relief. So it's really over. It's really over, she confirmed. But that night, I had a nightmare. Robert escaping from prison, showing up at my apartment, hurting the people I loved. I woke up in a cold sweat, heart pounding. Grandma heard me and came to my room. Want to talk about it? She asked. I told her about the dream, about the letter, about how scared I still was that Robert would find some way to hurt us again. He can't hurt you anymore, Grandma said firmly. He's locked up, his assets are frozen, his family's been investigated. He has nothing and no one. But what if? No what ifs, she interrupted gently. You can't live your life in fear of maybes. You've been through hell and you've come out stronger. Don't let him take that away from you. She was right. I knew she was right, but it was still hard. The next day, I went to therapy. Talked through the fear, the anxiety, the lingering trauma. My therapist gave me tools, coping mechanisms, ways to ground myself when the panic hit. And slowly, over the next few weeks, the fear started to fade. Not completely, but enough that I could function normally again. I graduated high school with honors, got accepted to my top choice college, started planning my future instead of dwelling on my past. Mom stayed sober, kept her job, maintained boundaries. Dad kept showing up, kept trying, kept being present in small but meaningful ways. My brother thrived, made friends, joined the soccer team. He still had bad days sometimes, still struggled with what had happened, but he was healing. And me? I was figuring out who I was beyond all the trauma, what I liked, what I wanted, who I wanted to become. It wasn't perfect. There were still hard days, still moments when old wounds reopened, but there were also good days, great days even. Days when I laughed until my stomach hurt, when I felt proud of myself, when I looked around at my weird, broken, beautiful family and felt grateful because we'd survived. All of us, in our own ways, had survived, and that was worth celebrating.